how much more important is your work that you're doing now in making sure that people really understand mental illness?
Yes. I didn't ask for this work. I didn't ask for this. This was not something I aspired to. I never aspired to be a suicide prevention advocate. I never aspired to be an advocate for people with mental illness. That was not on my agenda. But the day Matthew died, I knew exactly what I would be doing for the rest of my life. I would be advocating for people living with mental illness. I would be raising awareness around suicide prevention. I would be calling the Church of Jesus Christ in particular to take our place in leading the way in those messages of no stigma, no shame. It's not a shame. There's nothing embarrassing or shameful about having a mental illness. It's your body. The brain is an organ. Sometimes it gets messed up. Sometimes the things that happened, childhood experiences, can shape our thoughts and reactions in such a way that we don't know how to function in life. There's no shame in that. And so to call the church to be an advocate, to open our doors, to say you don't have to whisper. In the years that I was an advocate for people living with HIV, before my life got changed and I became an advocate for people with mental illness, I would travel around the world and people would whisper in my ear, I have HIV, or I'm HIV positive, or I have AIDS. And they whispered it because the stigma is so intense and can affect somebody's life dramatically. And now I didn't know that I would hear, but now I hear people saying, I have bipolar disorder, or I have an eating disorder, or I'm living with schizophrenia, or I have anxiety that takes me to my knees. And people are whispering because, again, the stigma, the shame, I don't want people to know this because they will treat me differently. And so to be able to say to the Church of Jesus Christ, no one should have to whisper anything about their lives at church. Church should be the safest place on earth to tell any of our secrets, to tell any of our struggles, to release all of our shame. If the church doesn't provide that, we're failing. We're failing, and we're not accurately representing who our God of deep compassion really is.
And you've been a part of this great new project, Reclaiming Life, Faith, Hope, and Suicide Loss. Why be a part of this?
Again, to tell the story. My story of talking about suicide loss and mental illness it's uncomfortable. Not everybody wants to hear it, but the fact is that the rates of suicide are going up. It's an epidemic. The number of deaths by overdose, opioid overdoses, they call them deaths of despair, where they're increasing to the point it's an epidemic. We have to talk about it. And so to tell people that not only does suicide happen, but to tell people there are ways that there are things that we can do, what I call that upstream, stuff that's further up the range, to help people learn how to cope with life, to learn how we can build resilience in teens and adults, so that we're not at that place of trying to, like we did with Matthew, trying to rescue him as he was in those crises places. It can't save everybody, but we can save a whole lot more than we are. And so it was important to tell the story, to tell our story that even though my worst day has happened, my worst nightmare, the thing that I prayed would never happen has happened, I still trust God. I still believe in the goodness of God. My hope is stronger than it has ever been. And so to tell those who have experienced the tragedy and the horror of suicide loss that life is not over. Your story is not over. God is not helpless in our ruins. He rebuilds, He recreates, and one day He will restore all that has been lost and all that has been broken.
Thank you so much, Kay.
Thank you for the opportunity to talk. Thank you, Maggie.
And if what Kay has said to us has resonated with you, I want you to know that our prayer lines are always available. If you're struggling, our prayer partners are not trained counselors, but they would love to pray with you. They'd love to share Jesus with you. They'd love to just share hope with you. If you're feeling really hopeless right now and you just want somebody to pray with you and comfort you, they are there. The number's at the bottom of our screen, 24/7, all the time. We are always there to pray with you, please do call. Stay with us. We'll be right back.